Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Daily People Podcast, the show that is made great by a great guest. Today, we're going to hear from one of my great friends. His name's Daniel Brown. He's a father of 6. He's a pastor. He's currently working on becoming a web designer. But before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell. That way you can get alerted when a new video drops. Excuse me. Please forgive me, as I don't really like asking for help. But do you know what would make a good intro? Just kidding. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Daily People Podcast, where we talk about achievements, have fun, and each guest is certified as awesome. I'm your host, John Mark Spear. Let's go. Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. I got my tea, got my phone charging. We're live.
Come on, you know we're live, dude. So Daniel Brown, welcome to the Daily People Podcast, man. It's good to have you.
Appreciate you for having me, brother. It's always a pleasure to link up with you.
Of course. You know, all the coffees and other things that we've had and many conversations, I've been looking forward to doing this show with you.
How much money do you think we've spent on building a relationship? Like all the coffees.
On building a relationship?
I say that because I know I spent a lot of money, but I don't think you did. I think you actually started bringing your own coffee, your own breakfast. So maybe it was me.
Man, you can't make me look bummy on my own show, man.
Bummy, frugal.
No, it was very frugal. It's okay. I think what I saved in money on coffee, I spent on cigars. So
there you go.
Yeah, I knew where to put my money.
That's right.
But man, I miss going to that coffee shop. That was a good time.
Going out.
Yeah. Just going outside in general. I know.
Yeah.
So Daniel Brown and I met, we met through church quite a while ago, and he is genuinely one of the most interesting people I think I've ever met on the face of this planet. There's not many people that you meet and you're like, well, this person's going to be my friend. And that person is like, well, he's going to be my friend. So we were
put a lot of pressure on me, but I'll take it. We'll see what happens.
And that's exactly what happened, though. I remember you being like, yo, this guy's got it. And I was like, this guy's got it. So we just clicked.
We did click.
Straight from the jump.
I like to tell people that I recruited you to be my best friend. I was like, this guy.
I think it's the other way around.
I don't know, man.
I'm telling you, that's what I think. Anyways, so whenever we met, I think you were 25, maybe early 26. Mm-hmm. And now you're 27 years old, you're married, and when you got married, you had 5 kids. Tell us how this happened.
Yeah, so pretty I want to say unusual story. My wife's name is Stephanie. I met her in August. I really met her in August. So I had seen her in passing. I knew that she went to church, at the same church that I went to, and I know she had some kids. I actually mentored a couple of her kids, but that's all there was. And I remember seeing her in passing, thinking like, wow. Mm-hmm. But also knowing that, okay, she may be out of my league. I'm gonna just keep on trucking. Mm-hmm. And so August 14th, she texted me out of the blue. She had my number, and September.
Stephanie 14th. Says it was September 14th.
Yes, there she goes.
She remembers it like it was yesterday.
So September 14th, she texted me and she was like, "Hey, you want to grab coffee? Wait a minute. Anytime, I don't know, maybe there's some youth pastors listening, but they will definitely relate. When a mom says, hey, can we meet up soon? Mm-hmm. It's always trouble. It's 100% always, she's about to chew you out. You did not rightly divide the word of God. Mm-hmm. Some weird youth group game you played really damaged Timmy's self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And now you got to hear about it. Yep. It's always trouble. So I was like, well, okay, I only have an hour. So
given a time limit.
Yes, a time limit. Because rookie mistake I did in the first time with another person, and literally the barista was like, "Yo, like I have to go. Like, I have to go.
The barista told you she had to go?
Yeah, they was like,
She?
yeah.
Dang.
They were like, look, so we split. So that hour was great.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, I was like, all right, what is it? What's the bone that you have to pick me? She was like, I don't have one. And so it was like, wow, okay, well, you want to do this again next Saturday? She was like, yeah. And so we did that. And then October 18th.
I got to pause this story real quick. I don't know if you remember or not, but you came over after that.
I did.
Yeah. You came over after that and you were like, yo, I think I just went on a date.
I didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm. You didn't even know it. So October 18th.
The fact checkers got me right on that one. October 18th is when it happened. I proposed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So September 14th, we officially had our first date.
Mm-hmm.
October 18th, I proposed. Thank God she said yes. I was shaking like a willow tree in a windstorm. I was super nervous. Then we were like, all right, because our mentality was, all right, we are people of faith. We strive to live by the book. And so we was combing the book looking for, like, what does the Bible say about dating? Like, courtship or whatever, we want to do this right way. What does scripture say about it? And we didn't really find much on dating. We found a lot on marriage. We found slight significance on the wedding, but not any on the pre-nuptials. So we talked about it. It's like, all right, well, let's get married. November 25th, Thanksgiving week. We were talking about, okay, let's just have a justice of the peace come through. Well, we couldn't find one. And then one was just like, hey, I'll marry y'all today. It was a Tuesday, I think. Tuesday. Okay.
We'll call it Tuesday.
So Tuesday.
The club was going up and you were getting married.
Right. Now, I got married on my lunch break.
Did you really?
I got married I clocked out, was like, all right, let me get dressed, ran home, found, a nice shirt or whatever, came to this house, like got married, like right there, said I do, and was about to go back into work. And my boss was like, bro, stay home. Like, what are you doing? Because I work. That's just what I do. So
that's a good boss.
Right. He's from Germany. So like he thinks differently. The Europeans got it right when it comes to work and time off and stuff.
Absolutely, they do.
Oh man, paternal leave.
Yeah, I need it. I mean, I don't need it yet, but at one point in time, I would appreciate paternal leave.
It's a game changer.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months. That sounds great.
So he said, stay home. So we got married, and then we went to Golden Corral because our family, my family just grew a lot. So it was a lot of us. It was a lot of mouths to feed, and you cannot go wrong with Golden Corral. And so first date in September, proposed in October, married in November. We just celebrated our 1 year, along with 2 weeks at that time. Our son is here, alive and active.
Daniel Jr.
13.2 pounds right now.
Dang, man.
He'll be 4 weeks Monday.
He's getting big.
He is scary big.
Scary big, man. I'm praying just abundance of wisdom and athleticism and knowledge and all the things that will make anybody successful over him. I'm
telling you. I'm just a lot of patience, because he's probably going to be big enough to squash anybody. So he's going to have the ability to do it.
You know, there was a story. Colt McCoy was one of the great longtime quarterbacks, and he wore number 12. And then his little brother comes in to play quarterback at the University of Texas. And he asked for the number 12, but the coach gave him the number 6 and says, if you're half as great as your brother was, we'll be all right.
What?
If your son turns out to be half as great as you are, he's going to be an incredible man.
Oh, man.
That's how I feel about you, dude. You are absolutely awesome.
I appreciate it. I just want to say I'm going to be half the size of my son at this rate. So
you might be.
I'm telling you, this guy is huge. Like
You might be.
huge and super calm. So
Yeah.
that's the best thing. He's not a crier. Like I think he's awake right now. He just got through getting his diaper changed, just chilling.
He's just up, man. He's the guy. So you're now married. You have 6 kids. What gets you out of bed in the mornings?
That changes a lot, but I think right now, I talked to my kids about this. I was like, all right, when you wake up in the morning, do you have the mindset of what's the most like challenging thing I can do today? And the reason why I think like that is because that creates a sense of like gratitude. Like even if something rough happens in your life, it's like, it's not that bad. I actually have it quite well. And so that difficult thing for me, sometimes it's having a tough conversation or parenting in general. Or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like marriage isn't always roses or whatever. Sometimes you have to admit, I was wrong in this area. And that's a hard thing to do, especially for me, because I like to be right. I like to be the winner, and most of the times I'm not. So I just wake up thinking, okay, I know life is going to be difficult. How can I face that adversity head on and not run from it?
I think the mindset of what's the most challenging thing that I can do today is very interesting, because if you wake up and you say, well, the most challenging thing that I can do today is, I don't know, make 100 3-pointers, or, that doesn't really apply to your professional life, but
not yet.
Not yet, but you'll get there. But whatever that is, that if you succeed at doing that, that creates a scale of success at the end of your day. And one thing that I've heard over the course of time is, you want to go to bed happy, tired, right? Like you've completed your day and you're pleased with what you've done, and now you can rest knowing that the things that you wanted to get done in your day are done.
Yeah.
So where you're like, what's the most challenging thing that I can do in my day? I'm more task oriented. So I need to go through and just check, basically not check the boxes, but put effort into doing each thing and get them all done.
There's a sense of, that's why making lists, and even if you go to like your Google App Store or your Apple App Store, you'll see plenty of to-do lists, and almost every single one of those apps that you can download will have a functionality in which you can scratch that task off, or you can check that, because even doing that is it's like a propulsion, or okay, I can do the next thing. But what's also challenging about that is telling people the most challenging thing that you're going to do. Because studies have shown that in telling people the grandiose thing that you're working on, produces the same amount of serotonin, or like happy feeling, or a sense of accomplishment that you would get from actually doing that thing.
Yeah. And
so that can be detrimental if you start talking a lot about the things that you want to do and the things you want to accomplish, because you'll feel the same amount of pleasure from that, and then maybe you don't do it because you've already achieved that high. So I learned that right away, that like, don't just do it, do it and watch and just watch the results happen, and people will notice, but don't talk about it as much.
I've always been a humble individual when it comes to talking about things that I have going on. True. I am a true believer of speaking things into existence. Absolutely am. I've done it, and it's a true key to things that have helped me be successful. Like, for example, one of the things I wanted to do when I was in college was I wanted to, coach. Well, then I started coaching. And then whenever I got to some of these good programs, then we started talking about winning state. Well, then we win state. Or to take it, out of the context of football, I wanted to date Monica. Well, then I started talking to some of my friends. I want to get married to Monica. Monica's my wife, by the way. So I believe in speaking things into existence. There's power in it, in the spoken word and getting it out there.
Yeah. I, I what I've seen is, and we can probably get into this later, but I don't know. I'd like to hear your opinion and anybody else's opinion on it. Really, is the best things that have happened have come completely out of nowhere. And I know we talk about speaking things into existence, and I definitely do that as well. I think there's power in like saying that thing. The Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So there are things that you can speak to encourage growth in something, and there's also things that you can speak to discourage growth in something.
Yeah.
But I found a lot of things come out of nowhere, and those sometimes are not what you spoke, but I think what is even greater than what you spoke sometimes. Just for instance, you talked about your goals of, wanting to be a coach, and that turned into, all right, now that I'm a coach, just being an accomplished coach, and even taking it further. I always not always, but for me, as soon as I became a believer in Jesus Christ, it was, all right, I'm gonna be a pastor. So then it was like, okay, I'm gonna be a pastor. It's like, all right, I want to be a pastor and pastor this demographic or whatever. When I got there, it was almost like a pivot for me in which things changed drastically. So what I thought of as a pastor and what I am now are two different things. But I wouldn't, I think if you were to say, all right, Daniel, do you want to be the typical pastor or do you want to be the pastor that you are today? I would choose what I am today, even though people may not see me on a stage with a microphone or whatever. And so I would say, even watch out for the things that you haven't spoken yet, because that could be something that is greater, because the Bible says greater than we can ever imagine. Well, if you say it, that means you imagined it, right? But don't limit yourself to what you say, because you have a very limited imagination based on your context. So.
Yeah, I like the thought that some of the best things come out of nowhere. I mean, that's where the podcast has come from. This podcast came from a text message. So I have a really good friend that reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and he was like, dude, you should do a podcast. And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, you have the voice for it.
You do have the voice for it, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. I will keep the voice for this podcast.
There you go.
But yeah, so in that, everything, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Whoa.
Oh.
There it is. On screen. There it is. Ooh, get it. Ooh.
Yeah. So in that, the best things come out of nowhere. And even though I didn't necessarily think of it, it still is a seed that was planted that I'm now pursuing. And the power of the tongue, I'm speaking into it. And nothing has told me that this is not going to be successful. There's been things that have maybe redirected the path that I'm going down. I've expanded in some areas already. Originally, I was just going to host my podcast on one website, and I'm currently working on a couple other things, but you got to let it grow and let it manifest. And
yeah. So I guess I got a question about that, is because I successfully started and piloted a podcast, but I just ran into a lot of just natural opposition, not like people saying, oh, this sucks or whatever, but just daily life. I knew that podcasting wasn't going to be my primary focus or even my secondary at times, because of the profession that I'm in. But for you, like, you're grinding, and like I've seen the fruit of it. I see your passion. I see, like, you're like, bro, I'm thinking about doing this. And it wasn't just I'm thinking about doing this.
Yeah.
I'm living in it right now on your passion and what you want. So how has the adversity been for you? Like, is it enough to where it kind of slows you down at times, or I'd like to know more about that.
So what I've found in starting this, I'm really good at getting into hobbies. I've always done it. I mean, I bought a guitar, never learned how to play it. I mean, I'm just really good at getting into hobbies. But the adversity that I would say that I've found is trying to tame my brain into focusing on one thing. So the way that I think, do what?
I keep going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug something in a little bit.
Come on, man,
Keep
plug it,
going.
dude. But the way that I think, I'm almost really scatterbrained. I spend a lot of time in my day to day by myself driving. That's what I do. I drive a lot for work,
Yeah.
and so my thoughts just go everywhere. And what I've enjoyed about doing the podcast is it's making me narrow my thoughts down and focus on one thing at a time and getting this task done and this task done and this task done to where I feel like what I'm doing is successful. Some of the other things that have been a bit of an adversity is I have a day job. So I'm waking up at 5 a.m. some mornings to get up and edit and work on the podcast and make sure that I have everything ready to launch. Anything that I may be doing on YouTube or Instagram, making sure that I have those things done because I can't let what I'm doing now take away from our only income as a family. My wife's in law school. So that's the adversity that I'm facing right now.
Yeah. Speaking on focus, so do you take any supplements?
Oh, are you trying to hit me up with some Spark?
Not Spark.
Are you an advocate?
No, I'm not. I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I just wasted money, bro. I'm not gonna even. It's hard for me to push a product that I don't believe in, and it's just. But
I would say any supplements I take is either like a green tea extract, vitamin D. That's pretty much it.
So have you heard of lion's mane? It's a mushroom.
Lion's mane? Does it come from Simba?
I would say yes, but I'd be lying, man.
Okay.
No, it's a mushroom. But you can extract like the whatever is in it. But lion's mane helps you focus. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing a lot of like software engineering classes and courses and stuff like that. And it's like learning a language, and then in 2 weeks you're gonna need that language to learn another language. And so, and I failed Spanish twice in high school, so I'm not that great at it. But
I didn't do very well my second year in Spanish. Yeah.
But I've been taking supplements with lion's mane in it, and it helps with focus. It helps with retention of facts and ideas and stuff like that. It's helped my mood. Like it's crazy. So I love music. Love music. But I've listened to so much music that it's kind of hard to remember everything at all the time, right? So we've all had this when we like have that song in our head, but we don't remember it. Like it's like, what's the chorus or what's that first verse? Since I've been taking some lion's mane extract, it's been like I can remember that thing now, and it helps me focus because I get brain dead at like 2 to 3 hours, but this helps me push to like 4 to 6. So maybe something you can check out. You can find out all kinds of stuff, but it's pretty good. I'll have to let you sample some. I got some coffee with some lion's mane in it.
Can I get it at Whole Foods? Where do you get it?
Yeah. You can get it at Whole Foods. You can get it at
Drug Emporium
grocers.
Okay. No, I'll have to try
vitamin
it.
Shop.
So
you gotta try it.
I will. When I was in college, the thing that you would do if you had a class that you were struggling in to cram is you'd take Adderall. And
so I told the guy that I said I want the legal form of Adderall. It was like this, and so. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to try it, dude.
I said the same thing. I've never tried Adderall because I went to Bible college, so we just prayed. But yeah.
So you were talking about how you've started taking some new classes. Tell us what you do now, and tell us what these classes are for, and where you plan to go.
Yeah. So. When I got married, I work in a nonprofit right now. So that's like my actual day job, the Arkansas Dream Center, in which what I do is I just help churches have or establish an outreach program. And so a lot of times, especially during COVID right now, it's kind of hard for churches to go outside the four walls.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of help facilitate that. I'm already in these communities. I'm already in these neighborhoods. I already have relationships with the people there. And I have a relationship with the pastors and the congregants or whatever. Now I'm like the friend who knows a friend. And so I help build those connections. But in doing that, I still like, it is only by the grace of God that we are healthy, whole. We got a roof over our head, food, but we're doing well. And we can't even complain. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I was going to have to make a little bit more money. Like it was just going to be a thing. And so I was scrolling on Instagram and came across this app that led to this other app that led to me taking software engineer courses for the next 9 months.
How far into the program are you?
It's November now. So I graduate in February, December, January, February, like 3 months, 3.5 months.
Okay.
And so what I do is, it's like an income share agreement, which I hope a lot of colleges go to in the near future. I know some have, but it's in a sense. So we got groceries coming in now. That's what happens. Okay. You got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they get older. You said what?
Let's hold on. You said you got groceries coming in?
Yeah, groceries coming in. Yeah.
You want to take a quick pause?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll get back to the income share agreement.
Income share agreement. Well, this is actually probably a great time for commercial break. So,
hey,
shameless plug, commercial break. Let's go.
You want like some background music with
some ambiance? I think what I'll do is I'll just cut it, right here. Welcome back, Daniel Brown. Still killing it. We were talking income share agreement.
Yes. So I hope that a lot of colleges trend in that direction. So what it is you pay a small, really it's a very small amount of like a down payment. Mm-hmm. Say if you're going to be a nurse or a accountant, you'd pay $400 or whatever, right? Or
is this monthly?
I'm sorry?
Is it monthly?
No, just one flat down payment. The initial $400 to $800 or whatever. Okay. And say like a company, say if a Baptist Health or whatever were to say, John Mark, we believe in you as a nurse or whatever that thing is. We're going to pay for you to go to college. We're going to fund you. You just pay us $800 up front. And then until we get you a job making $60,000 or more as a nurse, you don't pay a dime. But once you get that, you pay us 12% of your salary over a course of whatever, right? And so that's what I'm doing right now with the software engineering coach classes, which is super helpful. I just pay that one amount, and then they say, "Hey, we're going to get you a job making $60,000 a year." That is our outcome. Yeah, we believe in it, and until that happens, you don't owe us a dime.
How long are you tied to the company that you'll be working for?
No time limit.
Really?
Yeah. So let's say if my first job, I'm making $57,000, right? I don't pay a dime. And let's say I stay there for a year and a half or whatever, and then I get promoted and say now I'm making 65. Only then would that kick in until I pay off that full amount.
Gotcha. Is this a third party company? That takes the share?
So it's a child of a very cute, they're called boot camps. So a boot camp is like 9 months. It takes what people learn in 4 years, condenses it down to really practical stuff. So Flatiron is the name of the massive program, right? I think it's in New York, but they have a child company called Springboard that does all of what Flatiron does, but online. And so it's called Springboard. You can find on the internet. It's pretty easy to find. But I would recommend. They even allow 16-year-olds to enroll, which I think is incredible.
I agree.
They just have to have consent, of course, from their parent. But I think every child, especially graduating anywhere between, I would even go back, it's like 2015 to the present and even further, you gotta have some kind of technical skill as far as like like software engineering or, anything like that.
Absolutely.
That's the future.
Well, I see that being a part of the future, but in what I do, I also see some of the trade jobs starting to make a comeback. So like
Yes.
I would send, let's say that I had a kid that was like 8 or 9 right now. Well, when they get out of school, if they don't want to go to college or, get one of the technical degrees, I would probably push them into a trade job. So like a plumber, an electrician, anything.
Don't get your CDL.
Yeah, get a CDL. But those two, especially plumber and electrician, the average age of the worker is in the upper 50s.
Wow.
Maybe mid 50s,
Wow.
like that. So, and I mean, I'm sure there's some that are a little younger, but anyways, you go get your master plumber's license, your whatever, I think they call it a master electrician.
Yeah.
But you will be able to name your price because there's going to be so many people that are going for these technical jobs, these computer-based jobs. So, what do you do? I mean, you go.
Yeah, I think
you see a hole, fill a hole.
You see a hole. I really think that we have, especially like our generation, because now we're starting to have kids, and even it's now we're kind of building the next generation of humans. We got to look at, all right, what's old and antiquated and what probably should not be recommended anymore. I mean, you think of it like with your computer, right? Say if you're on YouTube, well, you search every day. You search for the Daily People podcast, right? If you continue to search for it, then you're going to get recommendations based on what's already happened, right? How come we're not doing that with society? All right, we have built up a search history now. We have built up experiences, and we've grown in knowledge and experience. How come our recommendations aren't changing? I feel like they should. I feel like we should have things like, all right, let's talk about income share agreements. Let's talk about getting your CDL. Let's talk about things like that, because that's the future. It's no longer spending 4, 8, 12 years in university just to get a job that's not even in your field. Right?
Unless you want to be a doctor. We still need doctors.
Yeah, or lawyers. Do your thing.
Do your thing. I couldn't do that much school. I couldn't do it. Not without a lion mushroom. What was it called again?
Lion's mane.
Not without a lion's mane.
Yeah. Look, I'm telling you, I don't know. I'm into like all these super plants. Holistic. And I'm thinking this is Maya right here in the background.
What's up, Maya?
Maya's
you're a cute little dog.
Yeah, she's a veteran. I would say vet, but that probably would scare her.
So she's old.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Daniel Brown in high school and what good and bad events happened that molded you into the Daniel Brown that I know today.
Yeah. So I think high school for me was a bit the same, which I did not like, and kind of different as well. And what I mean by a bit the same is I moved around a lot. I moved around a ton. I don't think I stayed in one school for more than 2 years. And so,
were you a military brat?
No, not at all. It's just my mom moved around. She got job after job after job. And so that's what happened. Yeah. So moving around a lot just made high school, like I was like, I'm ready for that part of it. I'm ready for being the new guy on campus again. I'm used to it. And so for me, that built that sense of, all right, well, I can do this. I can brand myself all over again. I know how to rebrand myself. I don't have to be the Daniel of 2008. I can be the Daniel of 2009, 2010, and so on and so forth.
So I've got a quick story on that.
Yeah.
When I was in junior high, I was just kind of like this scrawny kid that, people pick on or whatever. And so going into high school, I decided I was going to rebrand myself.
Yeah.
And so I walk into high school like the first day wearing this tap out shirt. You remember when
tap out?
You remember when tap out was like a big deal? It was blue. And I'll never forget it. And one of my buddies goes, "You look like an idiot. Don't wear that again. You're not going to beat anybody up."
Were you skinny with the tap out shirt?
Absolutely. I was a toothpick.
Oof.
So
So it's kind of like, was it kind of boxed on you a little bit? Because I feel like
I bought the medium.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I made sure that it was snug, but
it was snug.
I didn't have the attitude to back up the shirt.
So for you, it was a tap out shirt. For me, it was dreads.
Mm-hmm.
So I got dreads thinking it was gonna like give me that little edge, little tough guy edge.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. People respected the dreads. They thought either he does drugs or he sells drugs.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to mess with him.
Mm-hmm.
Had no trouble.
Don't mess with the guy that has dreads.
Don't
do it. You got to respect him. I mean, if I could have him, I would. Hey,
you can. Mm-hmm. Look, white people look good with dreads. I don't care what anybody says. Like corn. Name some other. Do we know famous white people with dreads? Do we know any?
I couldn't tell you. Corn, basically.
Corn.
That's it. I think I'm more so going for, since I'm from Texas and my dad's this major redneck, I want to make him proud. Okay. I want to grow out a mullet. I
was thinking the same thing with one dreadlock ponytail in the back, though. That's right at the bottom, like a little ducktail.
I can't get my wife on board. She says, "I thought you wanted me to be attracted to you."
Okay.
That's what she tells me.
Maybe we need to redefine some expectations.
That's right.
Somewhat attracted.
That's right. So you rebranded yourself.
Yeah, so I rebranded myself all the time. And so getting into high school, I rebranded myself again by that time I had dreads. And like I said, they thought you either did drugs or sold drugs, right? Mm-hmm. And so that kind of got me experimenting a lot with just drugs, alcohol, and the like. Mm-hmm. And I was already super creative. And so I was like, at that time I was like rapping, I was making beats and all this stuff. So just living that kind of lifestyle gave me
What's the best 2 bars you've ever spit? Think on it, but come back to it.
Come on. Yeah. Give me a second, man. Like Kanye said, man, I forgot better stuff than you ever thought of. Mm-hmm. I know, like Kanye's like, and I felt that. So I was like,
did you
forget all kind of stuff all the time?
I like, if we're talking about Kanye, one of my favorite lines that he ever said was mayonnaise colored Benz. I push miracle whips. Oh, he's such an artist.
What?
He's such an artist.
Crazy. Yeah. He's crazy. Like, I don't care what you say. Kanye is like, he that guy with them bars. They sleep on him a lot, right?
He's got it.
Yeah, he's got it. I probably would have voted for him if I knew my vote would have counted. But that's the thing. America is weird. So that gave me it gave me appreciation for people who are on drugs or who do drugs, right? Who take drugs or whatever, because I know how good you want to feel. And I know that sometimes you have to outsource the good feeling. And I know what it's like to try to outsource it, but you don't have it. You can't get it. And so now when I'm looking at people because I think the highest form of satisfaction and like good feeling is transcendence. And that's when your purpose reaches a level where it can't be fulfilled like with ordinary means. Like you get your purpose from a higher self or a higher sense. And so I love doing that. I love helping people find their purpose because then they won't have to depend on, any outsourcing, right? I want you to hire from within when it comes to your happiness. And so that's something I think I took from high school as well. Everything else is a wash. I didn't really do anything in school. It was a very wasted experience. I think going back, I probably would have applied myself. Yeah. But thank God for George W. Bush, No Child Left Behind. They pushed me right on up until I graduated. Come on,
climb the ladder.
Come on, W.
Climb the ladder. If he wants that degree, let him have it. If he shows up, it's his.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there was a lot of negativity about that program for a long time. And I've had, not that I have an opinion on the No Child Left Behind, but I've always found that with anything in life, if you just put in the work, you know, like you don't have to, all you got to do in high school is turn in your paperwork with your name on it and a few answers written out. Like, how do you not pass?
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. If you are present, you already halfway there.
You need to take that saying to church. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present.
Some lead pastor who's 25 years old, skinny jeans, Chelsea boots, and a shirt that's probably too small has already said.
I'm sure he has. And if he hasn't, he needs to tweet it and at Carl Lentz or somebody to retweet it, and his career will just go. It'll blow up.
So I hear you. Like I think the same thing. Now on the other side of things, like I said, I work with communities, which means I see a lot of school age children, and I always tell them, like, the thing that's going to separate you from everybody else is the fact that you actually do the work. Just put in the work. If you just put in it's going to suck, but put in the work, and you're already there. Like all you gotta do is just put it in the work, and you'd be surprised on how many people that don't want to put in the work. But that just means that when you do it, like you're gonna excel, you're gonna exceed.
Yeah, I was having a conversation the other day with a guy that was saying, do the work and show up early. That's how you beat your competition.
That's it.
That's how you beat your competition.
It sounds simple, but it's really not. A lot of people don't grasp that.
Yeah, and it's a discipline.
It's a discipline, and it's just because we've been enabled. We are okay with giving mediocre performances or no performance at all and expecting something. I just wish that those people could spend 2 years on a farm by themselves and have to work to grow their own food. You would understand. You got to work to eat.
Let me change the subject a little bit. I know at some point in your life, you were on a trail of, you know, choosing drugs over everything, and you ended up in a really bad car accident. What happened that night?
So, man, I was 19 years old. I just moved from Natchitoches, Louisiana, home of the meat pies. You've probably never heard of that place, but it's got some great meat pies. That's where it originated from. And so I just graduated from their high school. I moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, but I still have friends there. And so I go down and visit. And one time I spent like the weekend down there. And I'm telling you, I partied nonstop, did not sleep that whole weekend, no sleep. And I remember before I left, I was thinking, I got to get back on the road. I got to work in the morning. My friends telling me, bro, take a nap. Just sleep. We ain't been to sleep this whole time. Just take a nap. And I did not listen. And so I remember driving I-49 north from Natchitoches to Shreveport. And I remember dozing behind the wheel and waking up and being in the median, not like where the yellow lines are, but where that big patch of grass is and there's a couple of trees, and swerving back on the road. And I get to a stop sign in Benton, Louisiana, and that's the last thing I remember. I wake up, I'm in the passenger side of my truck, my 2001 Toyota Tundra that I missed so much. The windshield is cracked. It's completely dark, and I come to consciousness screaming, because I don't know what happened. I reorient myself. I get my phone. I grab some things out of my car. I step out of my truck. I'm a bloody mess. A lady comes in flag, stops. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't even know where I am." And so she pulled over and she stopped oncoming traffic. Lo and behold, the next vehicle was a fully loaded 18-wheeler. And the way that I literally veered into a guardrail and totaled my truck there. it was on the hill. So if this is the hill, like I'm right here. And so this 18-wheeler is coming, like they wouldn't be able to stop in time. And so I get to the hospital. I don't have insurance. They slap a Band-Aid on my head. They send me back home. And then at that moment, it was like, I can't even explain it. It's like it was pitch black dark, and it was just me with my thoughts of what in the world just happened. I remember God at that moment. I never had a relationship with him. I had never I heard about him. I heard about church, all the stuff, but like I it was in one ear and out the other. It didn't apply to me. But he spoke to me at that moment. He said, "I've had your life in my hands this whole time." And I said at that moment, like, okay, well, I surrender.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up the next morning. I had no taste for liquor. I had no taste for cigarettes or cigars or drugs or anything like that. Like I was completely like set free from those addictions. And so then it was a journey of, all right, well, like I'm here for a reason. What is that reason? And then one thing happened after the other. I got a better job in Little Rock. I got a job at the Arkansas Dream Center. I started learning about preaching, and all this stuff started happening all at once. But that was like a sharp 90-degree turn, if I'd ever witnessed one. So
would you say
really
that
set me like a path or whatever?
Would you say that you were really slow to jump on an opportunity before this had happened? Or would you just kind of chase down, like, did you have things about your personality that changed after your accident?
Yeah. So I don't even want to say I was slow to jump on an opportunity. I just never saw one.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, sometimes your eyes got to be open.
My eyes had to be open. My eyes were not open.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that I could be not a great musician, but a decent musician.
Mm-hmm.
I remember selling my keyboard that I got for drug money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember selling away what could have been my purpose for something that was going to last a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But after that, it was, now my eyes are open. Now I'm seeing, and I'm looking at what can I jump on? What can take me? And not in the sense of like, all right, what person can I use? But like, where can I fit in? Where's the slipstream or whatever? Where's that kind of, where's that thing, that fast lane that'll take me? And I kept on seeing them everywhere, and I still see them to this day. And sometimes it's not for me anymore because I'm on mine, and mine takes a little bit, but maybe it's finding, hey, you got to jump on that. Like, so now my mind is reoriented. So now I am more opportunity focused now. Like, and I don't play the stock market or anything. I want to, I just don't know enough about it yet. But like the life in general, there's so many things that if you just slow down and pick your head up, like you'll see that opportunity to speak to that person. You'll see that opportunity to jump in and learn something real quick,
Yeah, one of the things that really stuck out to me, so whenever I do a podcast, I send notes out beforehand and just ask my guests to kind of give me a brief rundown of, who they are. I usually have a very good foundation of who they are.
Yeah, he sends you an SAT test, and if you don't score high enough.
That's right, you don't get to be on the show.
I would have never been here then. So
Daniel Brown made a 1325 out of 1350.
13.25. I signed my name, and that got me the points.
Yeah, that's right. Just put your name on paper and turn it in.
Put your name on the paper.
Turn it in. But one of the questions that I ask is, what nuggets of wisdom or encouragement do you have to offer for our listeners? And you put, be an opportunist.
Be an opportunist.
Why?
Opportunist. I say that because that's the biggest. You got to strike gold sometimes. You got, like, I know a lot of people like to say life's never gone my way. I've never had good luck or whatever, but you can still use a shotgun to catch a fish. It may not be the best approach, but it's still an approach.
And that's attention getting.
It is, right? You probably won't catch another one. Once that shotgun goes off, the fish are gone.
I really want to bowfish.
I do too. I want to do all kinds of fishing. Like I want to get out there with a bow and arrow and just see what I'm made of.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I know somebody that can take us at some point in our life.
Yes.
So apparently in Mississippi, they've got
I love Mississippi.
Yeah, they've got just a part of the state that has jumping fish, and you can just ride down in the boat, and all these fish just jump, and you just stick them.
What?
That's where we would go. That's where we would go.
I'm in.
I'm in for it too. I think it'd be fun.
I wonder if you can just kind of swerve and catch a fish in the boat without even having to stick an arrow through them.
Yeah. Well, really, I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably just hold a net and just try to catch them.
But that's not as fun. It's like just midair, just letting one loose.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, we'd have to do it on the cheap, kind of like I used to do my coffee. Because I'd be like, "Yo, bro, you got a boat?" And then they'd be like, "Maybe," and I'd be like, "Can we use it?"
Yeah.
Got to find a hookup for that. But be an opportunist.
Yeah. So, I just think you try something. Something. Just try something. Just I thought computer science and software engineering were only for the smart people until I tried it. I thought that being a pastor meant you have to be perfect until I tried it. Mm-hmm. I thought podcasting was going to be the thing for me until I tried it.
Yeah.
And then I found out, okay, maybe, but I learned from it. Mm-hmm. So I would say, like, you'd be surprised at what you're good at. Mm-hmm. And then you'd be surprised at what you're not good at. And as soon as you learn that, life becomes simpler. Like, if you know that you're not good at writing music, instead of spending 3 years of your life, 5 years of your life, moving to LA and trying to be one of those starving artists, you can say, wait a minute, like, I've tried this, I'm not that good at it. Let me use this opportunity to do something else and dabble in something else. And so just keep your head up, keep it on a swivel, keep your eyes open, and just see what's out there. And then just try it. Just, you do 30-day trials on everything, on Spotify, YouTube Premium, or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Try it.
Try a hobby out. Try something out. Like, just try it.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is you fail.
Absolutely. That's where you and I are so similar, in that we will each go after something new with full intensity. I have no problem chasing down something new, and if I don't like it, putting it down and being like, I'm done with that. The hard part is whenever I've invested a little money into it, and then I'm like, well, I put some money into that, like my guitar. I don't really want to let it go yet because I bought it and I like it, but I know that it's not necessarily for me.
But now here's the thing: with our personalities, we can try a lot of stuff, and sometimes we try a lot of stuff all at once. And so having to commit. So you didn't necessarily say, or maybe you did, but you committed money. You put money into that guitar. Oh, yeah. And so that little bit kept you trying that thing and seeing it through, right? As opposed to somebody who just gave you a guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Picked it up and put it down. But so that's something that really helps us out.
I believe in putting a resource commitment. I believe in putting a resource commitment into something that you're going to do. You don't have to do a lot.
No,
I put very little into what I'm doing currently. So, I'm using Zoom. That's not a lot to do, my audios, and I have a microphone, but I'm using a used headset. I've got my old computer, as much free software as I can get. And that's how I'm doing the podcast, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's like next level opportunist, right? So once you try something for a while, now you're getting good at trying, and you're getting good at finding your sweet spot. The next level is, all right, now let me put some money into it and then multiply that thing. Yeah. So that's exactly what you're doing, and like this, I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I've got a friend that is he's also thinking about doing a podcast. He's wanted to do a history podcast, and he's talking about, all the equipment and stuff that he has purchased that he can't use yet because he's still waiting to buy the big piece of equipment. And then he goes, I really hope that I enjoy doing this because I put a lot of money into it.
Whew.
Yeah. So I would rather start off small.
Yes.
And if it really grows and turns into something, like I believe in keeping my hand to the plow and working it and trying to tend the field. So that's what I'm going to do here. But I would hate to do the exact opposite of putting a whole bunch into something and then it failing or me not liking it.
I not to be that friend that like pushes you to make a bad decision, but to your friend, I'm like, all right, man, like I'm waiting on this last piece because I want to see, I want to see you do it, because
absolutely
that would be scary for me to purchase so much, but still need the last piece to get started, and hopefully, but that could be the thing that like creates the most drive and passion, because once you have it all, and maybe it all clicks for you, and you find out that you do like it. But that's scary for sure.
The guy is a conversationist. I know he's going to do well at it.
Yeah.
I'm wishing, and mostly speaking over the fact that for me, I have to do things incrementally. Yeah, I have to do things incrementally and just try to grow it that way.
Data along the way.
But I can also see the other side of it, where it's good to have everything in place and ready to go. The other thing that you've got in this note is be okay with failing or hitting a wall. What makes you say that?
I hit a lot of walls. Like, for instance, I was building an application. It's going to be like a mock Boggle game for, it's for you to just play on your computer or whatever, right? And people may think, oh, that's easy. It took me 18 plus hours. And it's not even pretty. It's just a bare bones. It'll shuffle the letters around. It'll recognize words, that type of thing. But I remember hitting so many like walls along the way and being like, I cannot figure out the logic to write. I can't figure out how to write this code. And I remember doing a code review in which this guy all the way in the Middle East, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning for me. It's like 10 o'clock at night for him or something like that. And he's walking me through my code. And he was like, hey, like, this is great. He's just giving the peer review saying, okay, you could have did this better. Next time, implement this logic here or whatever. And at the end, I got to ask him some questions. And I was like, I feel like I get to a point and then my brain just quits. And I can't get past it. And he says, and this blew my mind because this guy's a senior software engineer, but he said, code for 30 minutes and then do something else for 30 minutes. Code. And I was thinking 30 minutes, like, are you serious?
A very minimal commitment.
Very minimal commitment, right? And that blew my mind because I'm thinking, when I think of like coders and stuff, I'm thinking like a bunch of Red Bull. It's late at night, your eyes are red, the screen's like just blaring, and like you don't get any sleep. But he's saying small increments, like you said, do the small, and then take a break and go do something else. And what that's helped me is I hadn't stopped hitting the walls, but I don't stay long looking at the wall. I say, okay, here's a breaking point. Let me go hold the baby. Let me go spend time with my wife. Let me scroll on Instagram for 2 minutes. That's okay, right? I know a lot of like, we're driven guys, so we're all about maximizing our time, but it's okay to do something mindless for a couple minutes, right?
It's healthy too.
Really healthy, right? And so hitting that wall and then backing up and saying, all right, let me take a break. Let me go do something else. I'm gonna come right back. I'm gonna get right back to it. But if you're so focused on not hitting walls, then what you end up doing is hitting a wall and then convincing yourself that it's not a wall. Yeah. And then you stay there for the longest. Because until you're able to admit, all right, I need to step away. I need some help. Let me come back at this. Yeah. So you gotta be comfortable with that. You gotta call it what it is.
Yeah. My grandpa was really into doing puzzles.
Mm.
And he would do 2,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. And it was really interesting the way that he would start out is he would build his border, and then he would take every piece that had, like, that was all the same style. So if it had, two male pieces and two female pieces,
Mm-hmm.
set all those pieces. And then, if it had one male piece and three female pieces, he would set all those pieces together. And he did that with the whole puzzle before he ever put anything into the puzzle and started putting it in place. Yeah, it was incredible. But he would always find time to stop because he knew that he would hit those walls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to know it. You just got to plan for the wall. You got to know that the wall is coming. You can't do nothing about it. It's going to hit you, and that's why I asked you about adversity, because even though I know that you have like this super smooth radio voice and that you can do anything that you put your mind to, you're still going to face adversity. Right. And that's really interesting to me because I want to know, because I got kids and I've spent 28 years facing adversity. They've spent 10.
Yeah.
So they don't, they handle adversity different. Some of them excel in certain areas and some of them don't. But I'm thinking, okay, what can I do that is putting adversity in front of them in a healthy way so that they get used to it?
Yeah.
And sometimes doing that is putting adversity in my life intentionally, because in giving them a hard time sometimes, I have to deal with that and I have to manage that. Sometimes it blows up in my face and sometimes it doesn't. But you got to know that it's coming. You got to know that failure is coming.
Yeah.
You almost got to convince yourself that in order to succeed one time, you're probably going to fail 10 times.
You ever fallen flat on your face doing something?
All the time. Okay, so there's this one story. So I told you I used to, rap and stuff like that. So my Bible college heard about that, and they wanted me to do spoken word. It's like during the chapel services for the whole college. Like the president of the college is there, the dean, like everybody's there, and we're doing this, and it's like high intensity, high emotion. And there's this Bible verse that says, "Greater is the one who is in me than the one who was in the world." Right. I get up on stage and I get to that part and I say, greater is the one that is in the world than the one that is in me, which is complete heresy.
It's backwards. You said
so
that backwards. Yeah.
I said it backwards and like really just like misquoted scripture in the worst possible way ever. And I walk off stage and I'm thinking, I am a heretic. I don't. And then the president of the college, I never forget this. He comes around, he puts these huge hands on my shoulders, and it's just like a recess. Like whatever.
Yeah.
You did good. I mean, you messed up, but you killed it. And so, but that happens all the time. And I kind of remind myself, and I'm glad that I have people around me that also remind me, like, okay, it's fine. Like, you failed.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna sit there and sit in it?
Be upset about failing, or are you gonna move forward?
Right. You're gonna move. So like, and that's what I tell myself, and that's what I want to tell others. And maybe it needs to come in a more loving way, but it's still the same thing. It's like, look, you can't sit there. It happened already. You gotta move. You gotta move on. You gotta get over it.
What does the next 10 years look like for you? What do you want to do?
I don't know if you saw this, but I skipped that question.
You're not allowed to skip it.
I want to know.
And you and I are both dreamers. We cast vision into people, and we can tell somebody that they're successful doing something. And I know that there are big things in front of you.
Okay. So
what do you want to do?
So here's the thing. If you read scripture, you never see like a linear timeline, so to say. The Hebrews, they're more into thinking that time is cyclical and not linear. And And so, like for instance, if you look at the 4 seasons, right? You know, there's winter, spring, summer, fall, right? And then it goes back to winter. And so the next 10 years of my life is really like preparing for the summer, preparing for the fall, preparing for the winter, preparing for the spring.
That's interesting.
So what I do is, for instance, winter for me is always the time in which I come out of a very fruitful time. And what happens is I come out of a very fruitful time, whether it's getting married or whether it's having a kid or getting a promotion, whatever that is. And spring is so great and lovely and wonderful, and butterflies and bees and flowers and stuff. You relish in that moment, right? And then boom, now you're faced with adversity because you don't want to stay there. You don't want to stay in this happy moment because life will happen, right? And so how do I prepare for the winter? How do I prepare for that? How do I get my mindset, okay, let me store great memories and passions and wins that happen in the spring and the summer times in my life and hold that. So when the winter comes, I'm not overwhelmed with the fact that nothing is producing around me. But I know that if I stay the course and get through this, that I'll reach that harvest season. I'll reach that springtime season when everything is fruitful. And so the way that I think is, I know that right now I'm going into a time of spring. Like I said, like I graduated in February, things are going to start moving really fast. Now it's okay. What can I do now to prepare myself for the winter that'll happen or the fall that'll happen afterwards? I know that I'm gonna get this job and it's gonna be amazing. But do I stop grinding? Do I stop learning just because I've already won? Or do I find a way to, okay, I need to store some of this. I need to figure out a way to write down the chronologue or capture these wins so that when things get hard, when I go in 6, 7, 8 months into this new job, and now it's really hit me that I have no idea what I'm doing. What can I look back to, right? And so that's kind of how I plan. And I learned that because my dad was a landscaper. And he never saved for the winter or the fall seasons. Because as a landscaper, you depend on stuff to grow in people's yards. And when it does not, you don't have any work.
And you make money during the summers.
You make bank during the summer.
Spring, summer, fall, you are making money.
You are making money. And so I learned that he never prepared for the winter. He never stored his money. He never said, all right, let me go hard in the spring, summertime while I can. And then have enough for today, but then stack some for the coming season. So right now it's gearing up for the winning that's about to happen, hopefully in Jesus' name, because that'd be great to get.
It's going to happen.
Right. But on top of that, it's all right, once I get there, how can I prepare myself for when I do hit that wall? Because those walls are way more significant than I can't figure out how to type this thing in. Now this is my livelihood. I've potentially moved my family 600 miles from where we are currently. We're in a new place, a new state, a new city, a new life in general, right? That wall is going to be more significant.
Just remember to take a few minutes to stop and look at it.
Right. Stop and look at it. Look and say, okay, this is a wall. This is happening. Let me go somewhere else and focus on and have a good time and then come back to it. And so in the next 10 years, to give the linear kind of representation of that, hopefully I'll be somewhere in a very nice house, driving a car with heated seats, a double oven, right? So I want 2 ovens because we just did Thanksgiving with one, and say we, my wife did, and she didn't really. I think she would benefit from the 2 ovens because it'll make life easier on everybody else, right?
Absolutely. It's the way to go.
Right.
We don't have them, but it's the way to go.
It's the way to go. So
that's a dream.
We got a crew. So we're looking for a 12-passenger van. We're trying to be like the Duggars out here. So a lot of stuff like that. But hopefully, I'm somewhere in probably not a senior position, but a manager position nonetheless, in which I'm leading other people in activating passions within them. And on top of that, I'm figuring out a way to stay in the tech lane, but get out of the corporation side of it and build my own.
Yeah.
That'll be the next thing.
And independence is such a wonderful deal. I mean, I deal with independent hardware stores on the day to day, and the freedom that they have to do business how they choose to is so valuable. I talked the other day with a hardware store owner, and he was talking about basically his independence and how he can kind of do those things that he wants to. And I think that's something that everybody should aspire towards, is to have their own thing.
Yeah. I wish that for everybody, but I don't think it's going to happen because of personality. Some people don't mind just, getting paid by so-and-so to do X or whatever.
Yeah, shift job.
Right. But for me, and I hope that other people will take advantage of this, because we are in the greatest country in the history of the planet. And we are allowed to have free enterprise and start our own whatever and make something out of it, that they will take advantage of that and make something out of it. Like, be your own boss. Don't, the goal is independence. The goal is make enough impact in which you can, you're self-sustainable, and you don't have to rely on some CEO saying the right thing or the wrong thing and losing your job because they shut the company down. Now you are the CEO, and you get to determine, those things. So,
man, if I was a CEO, or not a CEO, but if I owned my own business, I think every initial conversation would start with a handshake, and by the time it was over, I'd try to give out a hug.
There you go.
That's for appreciation.
You turned me into a hugger, man. I'm like, I wasn't really that much on, physical touch and interaction.
Yeah, that's my love language.
Love languages thing, it was a 0, goosehead, nothing. But you got me up like a 2.
I'm pretty sure I prepared you for marriage.
You did.
That's what I did.
You did.
I prepared you for marriage.
You did.
So, well, Daniel Brown, I think I'm about ready to close it up.
Man, we should do this more often. I know you got more important people to talk to and interesting individuals and stuff, but this was fun, man. Thank you for having me.
There's few that are more interesting than you are, brother. So, yeah, man. Thanks again for being on the Daily People Podcast, the show that is made great by great people like you.
And you.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is your host, John Mark Spear. I wanted to take a moment to just say thank you for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it. If you have any questions about it, you can reach out to me. My email is johnmarkspear0830@gmail.com.